Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Fornax and today we are diving into the latest Guild Wars 2 studio update and mini spring roadmap. So how I'm going to break this video down is I'm going to do a 10,000 feet view of the blog post, and then for anyone who's interested in the minutiae, stick around because I'm going to read the whole thing and then we're going to talk about each section, how I think it's going to affect the community, and hopefully we'll have a good old chinwag in the comments section. So let's get to the TLDR. I don't have time to sit and listen to you ramble about Guild Wars 2 for 40 minutes, Fornax. Okay, so what do you need to know? There is a roadmap, a mini spring roadmap has come out, which tells us the next chapter of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons will arrive on February the 28th. And we will be following Detective Rama and his glorious hat to new locations in Cantha, and we will be exploring the Jade Sea, which is super exciting, amazing locations, a fantastic visual spectacle in that area. So yeah, so more story content going forward. It's coming, it's starting on the 28th, and this is not a living world drop. If you own the Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons expansion, this is just part of the expansion. There's no login requirements or anything like that. So that's amazing. And that mirrors the future of the game going forwards because they are sunsetting the living world. That's not how we are going to be getting our additional story content associated with expansions anymore. That is done. So how are the team going to be delivering content in the absence of the living world? Well, every quarter we will get new content. So the cycle begins with a new expansion and 3 quarterly updates. So if you think about the ESO, the Elder Scrolls Online model, it is more similar to that. This means we're going to be getting content more often. And to be clear, the price of expansions will reduce somewhat, but they have not released how much each expansion is going to cost. On the initial launch of an expansion, player can expect new maps, new masteries, new armors, new weapon skins, the normal kit and caboodle, as well as a couple of strikes. And then more strikes will be added, more maps will be added with quarterly updates in a predictable fashion, streamlining our experience without cutting corners or compromising quality of delivery. And if you're looking for my thoughts on the topic, well, you're just going to have to stick about. So let's read through this blog post and see what's what. Hello Guild Wars community. Before our break, we wrapped up 2022 by reflecting on what a fantastic year it was for Guild Wars 2. In the time between that studio update and New Year's Day, Guild Wars 2 and the ArenaNet team and several end-of-year awards from some of the top gaming press, including PC Gamer's Best Ongoing Game, MMORPG's Player's Choice for Morpega of the Year, Massively OP's Best MMO Studio 2 years in a row, Best MMO Expansion, and Best MMO Business Model. Those were some exciting presents to unwrap. Again, a heartfelt thank you to our fantastic community for helping make last year the success that it was. Let's do it again. We close the December studio update with a promise that we'd be back in early 2023 to talk about our long-term plans for Guild Wars 2. Today, we'll be talking about some big changes we'll be making to how we develop and deliver new content and features, including our approach to expansions, and we'll share our new development roadmap. This blog is absolutely jam-packed with information, so let's dig in. Defining the problem. Since 2021, we've put a renewed emphasis on developing Guild Wars 2 with a player-centric approach, where step 1 in our development process is to seek out and understand the problems and frustrations that MMO players face. This approach was first adopted at ArenaNet over 20 years ago and is at the core of the continued success of the Guild Wars franchise. The conclusion of the End of Dragons saga, a story told over the course of a decade, was an opportunity for our team to reflect on our past before moving forward. We evaluated what has and hasn't worked over the years and used those insights to redefine how we develop and release content to our players. Our goals for the next phase of Guild Wars 2 are simple. We want to deliver content updates in a more timely and consistent manner, and we want to provide better support for the wide variety of systems and game modes that make up the Guild Wars 2 experience. having the development bandwidth needed to iterate on core systems is especially important to us, and it's something that we've been making headway on over the last year with our quality of life improvement initiative. There are many systems in Guild Wars 2 that have good bones, and they can be even better with just a little bit of love. It's a huge thing for a gaming development company to take a look at itself, see the pros, see the cons, and do it with an honesty and a humility. It takes a lot to do that as an individual. As a company, I would imagine it's even harder. A lot of companies need to be in a crisis situation almost to even consider doing this kind of self-reflection. I think this speaks so much to the integrity of the people who actually make decisions, that they are open and honest about the fact that there are some things that are great, there are some things that are not so great, and they're really going to take a look at it. And I do see that mindset and that ethos of humility in the changes that we've already seen in the game. This makes me so happy and have so much more confidence and trust in the directionality of the studio. And there are certainly systems in the game that are more hindrance to the player. Inventory wars being just I can think of at the top of my head. But yes, I think the team is painfully aware of the dreaded content drought that has been experienced sporadically since the game's launch. And I cannot wait to see if this new strategy is going to have an effect. And I love the fact that they're not afraid to look back, establish systems, and really give them a polish and a tweak and a cull as necessary. So let's look at what they're going to do. So the path forward. The first step towards accomplishing these goals was to rebalance how we allocate our development resources across the project. Historically, with a few exceptions, Living World seasons have required the focus of nearly the entire Guild Wars 2 development team to deliver them at the size, quality, and cadence that our players expect. This made it difficult to simultaneously develop expansions while supporting the game with regular content updates. It also meant that many areas of the game went under-supported. I think they're looking at you, World v World. Now, in the next phase of Guild Wars 2 developments, we're taking a more balanced approach that will allow us to provide more support for popular game modes, make frequent quality of life improvements to core gameplay systems like professions, deliver new features, and expand the world of Tyria with satisfying immersive story updates. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. A little bit fluffy on the specifics, but definitely think that the Living World was a content hog and just didn't give them the return on their money that they needed. So yeah, this is great. We're going to get more frequent but smaller updates where they can maintain the quality and they can broaden their horizons to do with properly giving the time and love and development to game modes which have been orphaned for a considerable period of time. So what does this mean for you? Our future expansions for Guild Wars 2 will be the backbone of this new approach. Rather than launching an expansion every 2 to 4 years with a Living World season in between, we will be releasing smaller expansions more frequently at a slightly reduced price and adding additional content for those expansions through quarterly updates, meaning that the next big release is only ever a few months away. Yes, 100%. As a player, as a content creator, this is absolutely fantastic. A more regular cadence of content, I think overall this is going to be a huge benefit to us as the players, and also as a person who experienced the start of the game where they had a sheer volume of content. It was just like a hose of content. There is a happy medium. You don't want to be overwhelmed with the sheer amount of stuff being thrown at you, and you don't want to be sat twiddling your thumbs waiting for stuff to happen. So I think this sounds like a really nice kind of happy medium, and I can't wait to see how this pans out. Okay, on with the reading. So the first release in an expansion cycle is the launch point for a new story arc, bringing with it 2 new open world maps, 2 strike missions, new gameplay and combat features, new masteries and new rewards. In the following quarterly updates, we will add another open world map, additional story chapters, challenge modes for strike missions, and new fractal dungeons and challenge modes, new rewards, and additions to the new systems introduced in that expansion. once that expansion story is complete. The next expansion is just around the corner. This is the overview I gave at the start of the video. Initial big launch of an expansion, then 3 updates to that expansion, and then another expansion, and each expansion is its own story arc. If you're a player of Elder Scrolls Online, you're going to recognize this kind of style of content delivery, which is hugely successful. So this is great. So that's the major change, how the content is going to be delivered to us, a quick overview of what we're going to be getting, what we can expect going forward. Now let's jump into the immediate future. Spring roadmap. So, the next chapter of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons arrives on February 28th, which is really nice, that's super soon. With familiar allies like Detective Rama and his hat at your side, you'll be travelling to a new location in Kantha and come face to face with the deadly foe that resides deep within the Jade Sea. That storyline will conclude a few months later with an update that introduces additional playable space to the map, adds event maps and boss encounters, and lays the groundwork for future to-be-announced adventures. Unlike a Living World release, all owners of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons will gain access to this content, meaning there is no pressure to log in to unlock it, and no gem store cost for missed story chapter unlocks. If you have watched any of my content or listened to me on the Lightbringers podcast, which I am a resident talking head, I have often advocated for the removal of any kind of limitations for players to play through the story. I don't like the idea that players coming late to the franchise are disadvantaged. For Guild Wars 2, there is a bridging narrative from the very first moment that you meet your character to the very last moment of the story that we've just played through. And I'm so glad that going forward, that is not going to be the case. Fingers crossed, they might retrospectively just make it a zero cost and give everyone the story. You never know. But amazing change, fantastic that we're going to the Jade Sea. I will make a Jade Sea video talking about the lore of the area and the characters of the old world and that kind of thing and what I hope to see. I'm really looking forward to the 28th of February now, which is amazing. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling and continue reading the blog post. So in the first half of the year, we'll release the Suwon Legendary Weapon Skin Variant Collection, 2 Profession Balance updates, and a new Fractal Dungeon and Challenge Mode, and multiple updates to World versus World. Sign me up for all that. Well, I mean, not the challenge modes. I'm a Care Bear, but yes. And now, additionally, we'll finish rolling out the DX11 and Chromium Embedded Framework upgrades, and run our usual festivals and bonus events. We also have some quality of life updates in the works, including a long requested feature that allows you to queue up for PvE maps when they're full. Yes, no more endlessly clicking to try to get into a map. Your friends are in a map, you want to join them, you join the queue, just like in World v World for their maps. This is an amazing update. We might have a few surprises in store for you as well. Well, presents I like, surprises I don't, but I'll make an exception for Guild Wars 2. Give me surprises. Here's a high-level look at our upcoming releases. The timing of some of the updates and betas listed below will be announced closer to their release dates. So, on the 14th of February, Profession Balance update is incoming. World v World Objective Reward Scaling is going to be coming in, and Chromium Embedded Framework update. That Chromium thing is Gem Store interface that's going to be improved, hopefully with the zoom function. On February the 28th, new Guild Wars 2 End of Dragon map and story content, and a Suwon Legendary Weapon variant. Can't wait to see those. Of course, we've got some festival information, so March 28th will be the Super Adventure Festival. April 18th is DX11 upgrade be completed. There is a blog post to that if you're worried about your system requirements. I'll pop that link below. And on the 2nd of May, there is another Profession update. In the background, we will be quietly working on what's to come in the second half of the year. We will have more to share on that later. Okay, so wrapping up, we are so excited about the next phase of Guild Wars 2. I think we can all agree that we're excited as well. They are excited, however, for both the things we are able to share today and what's just over the horizon. The changes we've outlined will allow us to provide a better experience for our fans, release new content updates more consistently, and ensure that Guild Wars 2 will be around for many, many years to come. We'll see you in game. So thank you, Josh. That was a wonderful update. Can't wait to explore the Jade Sea. I can't wait to experience the new expansion cadence and the new content cadence and see if it lives up to the expectations, or actually whether it lives up to the potential that the game has. I think most players of the game will say that Guild Wars 2 is one of those unsung games, and maybe with this change of delivery, it will get the accolades that it should. And I'm not talking about awards, real capitalistic bang for their buck. Fingers crossed, because the financial success of the game, it's good for us because it means that we get years and years more of Guild Wars 2, and I think we can all agree that that is something that gives us a little beacon of joy in a very difficult environment. And I personally am incredibly grateful for that. So thank you guys. That's the video, my thoughts on it, that's the blog post, save you reading it. Please let me know, are you happy about these changes? Good? Is it bad? Are you looking forward to going to the Jade Sea? Let's have a good old chinwag in the comment section below. And yeah, look for my Jade Sea lore video coming up next on the channel. So if you feel inspired to buy the End of Dragons expansion or drag your friends in with the free-to-play accounts, there are referral links below, using any of which helps financially support the channel, thanks to ArenaNet's partner program, of whom I am a proud affiliate. And I want to give a big shout out to all my Patreon supporters who keep this channel up and running. I couldn't do it without you. If you would like to support me directly, there are links below. But sadly, we have come to the very end. So until we meet again, please stay safe, stay awesome, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.